Good morning and welcome to Atlantic Television Network. The program is Atlantic Blowout and we are here once again to talk about Nigeria. And Atlantic Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network that features chit-chats and conversations on special interest topics, news, events and stories through correspondence, reports, expert opinion and stakeholders analysis. Today, we will be taking a story straight out of Delta State. We heard reports about South governors not doing so much or enough regarding agriculture. But let's see if our guest is also going to feel the same way about this report that says the government of Delta State supports farmers to enhance food security. And then on correctional bribery, Minister orders probe and Falana threatens suit. This has been in the news for some days now, talking about the very dark man and Bobrisky's story. And then down to economic development, Tinubu urges Africa to end raw materials or mineral export. And then on economy, gas price continues rising. NBS report. On fuel price, federal government will not intervene in NNPCL and Dangote field. Okay, but we heard statements from federal government earlier concerning this same topic. So what's going on now? Why the withdrawal? And then on Labo Dam, panic across states as Cameroon releases water. This has been notice that has been passed to various states in Nigeria. Was it about 11 states or so, telling them to take precautionary measures concerning that. And now the water has been released. Let's see how prepared the states are. We'll go on a short break, and after that I'll let you know who's seated right here in the studio with me. Please don't go anywhere. I am Enidoye Jackson.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
hanging out in the studio with the coordinator of the Agri-Graduate Association of Nigeria River State Chapter, no other than Loveday Operum. He's also a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Loveday.
Good morning, Eni. Happy to be in your midst this morning. You're looking very welcoming as usual.
Welcome, Loveday. It's so good to have you.
Thank you.
All right, we're starting with a story that has to do with agriculture. You're an agricultural expert, and the last time you were here, you told us how you feel like the South-South governors could do more as regards supporting agriculture. And then you compared it to some other parts of the country and how much they are investing in agriculture in those parts. That's why we're getting more food from there. And the day they told us that they would send us food, we went AWire. But now let's look at what the Delta State Governor has said. Delta State Governor has empowered 6,020 farmers with agricultural inputs to enhance food production and security in the state. During the flag-off ceremony in Asaba, he emphasized the importance of agriculture in the state's development strategy and the need to support farmers for improved productivity. This initiative is part of the Delta Community Action, Resilience and Economic Stimulus, the CARES program, which aims to boost food security. The state has also approved 1 billion naira as counterpart funding to empower an additional 2,000 farmers in collaboration with the African Union Development Agency. The Commissioner for Economic Planning highlighted the significance of the agricultural sector and encouraged Deltans to engage in urban farming to combat rising food prices. Your thoughts generally on this story, Loveday?
Very, very commendable. I'm very excited hearing that a governor in the southern part of the country is proactively now investing and making public his agricultural initiative. Very commendable. That means some of the things that we've been advocating for, some of the things we've been saying, and the impact of the hunger and the food crisis in the nation is beginning to cause a kind of transformation or revolution in the South-South. So it's a very good one coming from the Delta State government. All
right, so when you talked about the support for agriculture in the South-South, this is exactly what you were looking at, or are there other things you were looking out for?
Yeah. You know, there's always a beginning point. There is more to it, and I believe that having initiated this, the government of Delta State will do more. They will definitely advance. Agricultural empowerment or making the environment very conducive for agricultural production or to enhance productivity goes beyond. But hearing that there is partnership with relevant agencies, and then there is also a specific amount, 1 billion naira for counterpart funding to boost agricultural productivity in the state is quite commendable. So there are some things or other things that needs to be done. Aside providing the relevant facility, the issue of monitoring is very key.
Yes, and I was going to come there because besides talking about the other things that we expect them to do, let's also get to look at how exactly this should be monitored or followed up to make sure that it reaches the right people.
Exactly. It's very key in this sense. You know, I've always said that within the political arena, we usually have so much portfolio farmers. Is a major menace in the agricultural that is affecting the agricultural system or agricultural facility disbursement in this part of the country.
Have they not been monitoring all the while?
That's the challenge. How will you monitor yourself? You can't monitor yourself when these funds are being made available and shared among those that are supposed to, you know, monitor the system. So who monitors?
Who monitors the monitor?
That's the point. Who monitors each other? So that has been the problem. Now, the issue of monitoring should be taken into cognizance very seriously, considering the initiative that the government of Delta State is floating. There should be serious monitoring if the state government is serious with what we have heard. There should be an agency, if possible, a committee set up to monitor how this fund will be disbursed. The farmers, and there should be, the farmers that should benefit from this initiative should be practicing farmer. They shouldn't be farmers, people that wants to go, because that's where we have the issue. All this while you've not been farming, you don't have interest in farming, then all of a sudden, because there is fund, there is 1 billion naira, you see proposals here and
fish
there.
farming.
You know,
I'll put crop farming.
I'll put crop farming. This one will say no. And when my father was alive, he used to be a very big yam farmer. So I want to. This is not the time for that. So the state government should set up a committee that, if they don't have the database of free farmers in the state, there should be a committee that will, you know, visit this farm. There should be a workshop, which I believe they must have been doing. Okay. Then get relevant information from this farmer and visit them unannounced. Get the address of the farm, go there, see what they are doing. That will help you, you know, to, you know, categorize these persons, the people that will be applying for the loan or for the scheme that will need the facility that the government is making available. So the issue of monitoring is very critical. And based on experience, I would want to say that a separate committee, not just the Minister of Agriculture, a separate committee, if the government is serious, a separate committee for monitoring should be set up.
I'm trying to see how this is actually going to be different from what has been going on. Are we saying that all the while funds have been distributed to agriculture, to agro experts, there have not been committees to monitor? You already said earlier that sometimes we have cases of the monitors needing to be monitored. So now your recommendation is still in line with what has been happening, don't you think?
Yeah, it is, but I believe it's going to happen differently this time. The reason I say so is because hunger is really dealing with Nigerians.
Has hunger not been in the land?
Yeah, hunger has been, but it's something, what we're experiencing this period is something else. So I don't see...
Pro-max.
Pardon?
Hunger pro-max.
Yeah, yes, it has gotten to that point. It's hunger pro-max now. So I don't see the state government, you know, releasing fund for food production, and then will not do all within her reach to ensure that that particular fund is judiciously used. And I don't also see recipients or beneficiaries of this particular initiative wasting the resources, because the stomach already needs something. So I don't see it happening the way it used to happen before.
But aside that, measures should be put in place, because it's good to be optimistic, it's good to be hopeful and see the positive side of everything. But, you know, we can't just sit down and say, oh, these guys, this time they're going to act right, or this time they'll act differently. There should be measures that are different from the measures that have been put
definitely.
in place.
You know, I am not from Delta State, but I want to believe that the agricultural professionals in that state, especially the Ministry of Agriculture, that's mandated to oversee agricultural activities in the state, should know what to do. And this kind of situation, the state government, via the Ministry of Agriculture, should be able to itemize, you know, the areas, the enterprises that are of high relevance in the state, the enterprise where this fund will be channeled into. And then the Ministry of Agriculture should lead the initiative. I don't know if Delta State Ministry of Agriculture has a demonstration farm or has land, has farms, you know, that they use to encourage younger farmers or the private farmers to do more. So if there is nothing like that, or if there is need to improve on that, there is need for the Ministry of Agriculture to champion the cause. How do I mean? They should be able to be producing something. One of the enterprise, or one of the, if it is crop, one of the crop varieties that they are recommending, the ministry should champion. The ministry should be at the forefront. And then by so doing, you'll be able to easily monitor the process, and then also have a first-hand information and experience of what the other farmers are going through. But just releasing form without you doing, indirectly, you're also telling the people, we are not interested in this business. If the Minister of Agriculture cannot farm, cannot own a farm, then you're giving who will do the farming. So it has an implication. It has a negative impact on the people, on the farmers. But once you're releasing funds and you're inviting farmers to come and see what you are doing, you're making videos, you're sending personal information. This is the Ministry of Agriculture farm in Delta State. This is their cassava farm, this is their yam farm, this is their maize farm. You're already stimulating the people. You're stimulating the farmers to do more.
Is this something that you have seen replicated in another state?
Which one now?
The Ministry of Agriculture actually having a farm to support.
That's how it has been, or how it used to be prior to this time. You know, should I say, since the democratical era, the issue of farming operating a farm by the ministry has drastically reduced. The passion has dropped very significantly. But prior to this time, the ministry, of course, the ministry cannot release materials without demonstrating it. Once there is a particular farm, an improved variety of crop or whatever, the ministry will go to their demonstration plot and do it. Then the extension agent, the agricultural extension, that's the job of the agricultural extension agent that is now lacking, in the country. And that is where we have the major problem of technology transfer. Most farmers do not have the updated or improved varieties of the crop they are using. Some of them are still farming, recycling crops of 1980, varieties of 1980, 1990, whereas there are updated versions of what they are using to farm. So before now, the ministry always lead. Once there is an improved technology, the ministry gets to the field, demonstrate it, understudy it, and then communicate the outcome of that particular variety to the extension agent, who now transfer that same technology and monitors what the farmers at the grassroots level are doing. But in recent time, we no longer, the ministry do not even have farm.
So we don't have that in River State also?
We don't. We do not. Have you heard that this is the ministry, this is a particular enterprise, or this is the ministry's farm in River State? We do not have. We only hear and we know of sites, that's farmyard, premises, that has been earmarked for agricultural activities, which has been converted into rentage apartments. People just go there, build structures, and some of those, you see vast land.
Wow. Just
virgin land, open like a private individual go there now to do farm and then construct structures, and then they are living. And that is what the government, the ministry is supposed to be doing. That's what we know when it comes to narrowing it down to River State. That's what we know that is obtainable here. The ministry does not have a farm, especially except they started that maybe yesterday.
Before you, exactly, or this morning while you were on your way to this place.
But as I'm talking to you, I do not know a particular farm or agricultural enterprise that belongs to the Ministry of Agriculture.
Let's also look at other aspects that we are expecting support, especially from the South-South governors, regarding supporting or promoting agriculture.
Yeah, facility, financial facility or credit facility is very key. Monitoring is part of it. Another area that is very essential or pertinent in this regard is the area of land. The area of land. Most government lands are secured, kind of. Most of the government lands are secured. Now, some of the people, some of the farmers, those that are skillful, those that wants to farm, they do not have secured land. So the government should also do more by, providing, allocating or allotting portions of land or plots of land to relevant farmers, those that are interested. The government should release their farmland to farmers willing to make use of those land, rather than, allowing one individual or group of persons behind the scene renting out some of those lands, making money from it, which is also...
One of the issues farmers have is that they do not have lands to
some farmers, not all.
Yes.
Some farmers, we talk about, there is a concept known as urban farming. In most urban areas, the issue of agricultural land, arable land, is a major challenge. It's a major challenge. So, for instance, if you are a farmer and you are residing within the city, you discover that even if you have the skill, you have the capacity to farm, land will be a major challenge to you. So
one would wonder, in this place where there is land everywhere, why would land be a major challenge?
Yeah.
We have lands available.
We have lands available, but not some of the lands you see, they are owned. Not even some. All the land are owned by persons, right? There are some persons that will want to go into farming. They do not have land. There are some persons that are not, they are not indigenous of this particular state, but they are good farmers. Now, for them to go and lease or hire 1 hectare of land, do you know what that will cost? Hire an acre of land or 4 plots of land to farm. It will tell on the farmers. You understand the point? So if you're talking about land ownership, you own a land where you're from or by purchase. Now, some of the farmers do not have their personal land, but they are residing in an area where if they are being supported by the government by providing land, they will do well and do better. Okay. And then some persons that are also indigenous of a particular area, industrialization or globalization has also taken over their land. You understand? They have sold off their lands, and then some of the places you can find it difficult to even get 2-3 plots of land to farm. So it becomes a major challenge. So that's why we're also recommending that some of these government lands that are empty, the government should look for a way, advertise it, and then call on people, those that are interested to farm, so that we all can collectively boost food production. Okay,
so as time goes on, we will keep talking about the solution to some of the challenges that agro-experts are facing in Nigeria, but we'll take it one at a time. Today we've highlighted two. We've talked about finance and lack of enough lands, or people do not have lands and stuff like that. And monitoring, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to our next story now. Nigerian Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo has ordered an investigation into allegations of bribery within the Nigerian Correctional Service following claims made by Bobrisky in a voice note shared by influencer Martins. That's a very dark man. Bobrisky alleged that after his sentencing for abusing Naira notes, his godfather arranged for him to serve his 6-month sentence in a private apartment instead of prison. Now, with the help of Correctional Services Controller General, he also claimed to have bribed officials to avoid money laundering charges and falsely implicated human rights lawyer Femi Falana in seeking a presidential pardon for 10 million naira. Falana has denied involvement and issued a legal ultimatum to the very dark man, demanding a retraction and apology. The minister has set up a special investigation led by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, pledging transparency and accountability. Okay, everyone's putting up panels for investigation. We took a story yesterday from the EFCC. Also, investigations are on. In fact, we heard that very dark man and Bobrisky were invited for investigations. But then I saw a video from very dark man where he said he's going nowhere. Where he said if the EFCC actually wants to investigate, they should start their investigations internally. So when they are done investigating their officers, then they should call him. And he even talked about staying in Lagos and then the headquarters being of the EFCC being in, according to him, Abuja. So why are they inviting him to Lagos when the headquarters of EFCC? He was just all over that video. But let's get your thoughts on the whole story.
Wow, it's a very terrible circumstance or situation. You know, the last part of the story that talks about accountability and transparency, that's what Nigerians has always desired when it comes to issues of allegation and investigation. You know, very critical. The very dark man, the video or the voice note released, you know, was clear. I think the government has to do a thorough investigation to ascertain the validity or the authenticity of the particular claim or those claims that are being made by Bobrisky. You know, in this country, anything is possible, anything can happen. And once you have influence and you're occupying a certain top position, things that normally the law should hold you for will just be swept under the carpet. So let's believe for now, I don't think we'll have much to say, but let's watch how the whole thing plays out. We want to see the outcome of that, the investigation that the minister has already commenced. Let's see the outcome of that investigation and let this matter not just end like this. Once they have their findings, like he said, the public would also want to know that these are their findings and these are the measures that the ministry is ready to take. You
started by saying it's a very terrible situation. What exactly are you referring to?
Yeah, the issue, the allegation. You know, one thing is to say something behind the scene. You can allege something, you can say something against somebody behind the scene, but once it comes to making it public, that means the person is ready to face anything. The person is ready to stand by what he or she have said.
Referring to a very dark man now.
Exactly. So that's why I said it's a very terrible situation, but we can't conclude yet. But I want to believe that he's very sure. He wasn't under the influence of anything before.
This was not even a case of him. You know, normally he would come out and just say things, but this was really not a case of him just coming out to say things. He played the voice note.
Exactly.
Which a lot of Nigerians have said that that voice note is, or that voice belongs to Bobrisky. But then Bobrisky came up and said that is not his voice. And that's something some Nigerians cannot understand.
Yeah, I think the ongoing investigation will reveal all of that. The voice note will have to be digested, and the source where the voice note emanated from. I believe the investigative panel will get to that particular point outside the issue of whether there was some form of bribery or not. So the validity of that particular voice note is also what we want to, because the issue of slandering, libeling any person, anything, and then go scot-free is a serious offense. It's something that shouldn't be allowed to just pass like that, because by so doing we will be worsening, will be worsening the society. The younger generation will feel that you can just release anything and then nothing happens to you. So I am still
but we keep hearing cases like that.
Yes, that's why I said.
In fact, they used to say that there's a VIP session in some of this. They used to say, we used to hear that there's a VIP session. So sometimes when you hear a big man is arrested, people would say, oh, don't worry, he's going to the VIP session. Just like Bobrisky also reviewed here that his was even different. According to the voice notes, he said he was not even in the correctional center.
Exactly.
Right? He was in an apartment. This man came out looking very fresh and very fat.
Like so was in a private apartment.
Do you understand? So Nigerians started, oh, no wonder you can. Somebody said yesterday, someone said, how can someone who was in prison look fatter and fresher than me that I've been free all this while?
That justified what he said now.
You know, that so Nigerians, so Nigerians are beginning to. But then back to dragging Femi Falana into this conversation or into this whole drama is another part of it.
Yeah, that's why I said before someone will come up publicly to make some strong statement, you must have read in between lines, watch to your back, watch to your front, and before making up your mind. Falana is a big name. He's a very renowned personality in the country. So for somebody to call his name without being guided properly, I think is something that should be discouraged or shouldn't be allowed. The man is a professional, and if he had interest or somehow he was contacted or hinted to probably get into that matter to see what he can do, I don't think it's out of place. Coming from the professional angle is not out of place. For instance, I am a farmer. If I hear that a particular agricultural project is going on, maybe by the government or a very renowned personality or whoever within my domain, there is nothing wrong for me to...
Yeah, but then as investigations are actually going on, like you said, we'll get to actually find out what happened,
definitely,
why his name was mentioned,
definitely,
what role he has to play in all of the drama that is going on currently. But let's look at how this is going to affect the credibility of these organizations and also going to affect the mindset the Nigerians have of the EFCC and the Correctional Service.
Well, I think this we have, behind the scene, we have always heard that some EFCC personnel, that they also compromise. Of course, I believe that nobody is perfect, but all we keep saying is that the government and relevant government agencies should do all within their reach to ensure that they fish out some of these bad eggs among the system. So we cannot vouch for anybody. From the first instance, if Bobrisky, who was sentenced at the end of the day, did not serve where he was supposed to serve, he wasn't in the correctional center, isn't that a compromise? Isn't that also a kind of offense? So from that point, it has started, compromise has already set in. So if there is an allegation against the EFCC and some officers of the correctional center, the investigation should go on. It's not new. The only problem I have is, at the end of this investigation, Nigerians will no longer get to know the outcome. You will see different speculation, different write-ups here and there. So the same way the Minister of Interior has come out to assure the people, assure Nigerians, that they are going to get to the root of this matter and be very much transparent in passing the outcome of the investigation to Nigerians. Let that be done once the investigation comes to an end. That's it.
A part of this, even though not to deviate, I'm not deviating, I'm still on track, because this tells me how powerful the social media platform is. This guy just sat down in his house, wherever it was, and did a video, and that was the end. Nigeria, look at all the officials, everybody's running helter-skelter, making statements, and, investigations are on, and all of that. It shows us how powerful.
That's the power of the media.
Yes.
Very powerful.
How can we really utilize this social media that is this powerful, to make it positive, to have a positive impact in our society, or even on the young people?
I think Nigerians are doing their best. We're trying, even if some younger folks explore the negative aspect or use the social media negatively. But the capacity or the potential of the social media to transforming our society and even economy is very high. It's very high. The government should do all within her reach to ensure that social media is being encouraged and properly harnessed. Just like we keep talking about bad leadership, bad governance and all of this, the social media can be used very seriously to correct and redirect some of this negative governance that we've been having.
After all, the protests we just had, the whole arrangement was from social media.
It was sealed on the social media.
Yes, the communication amongst various youths from different states in the federation.
And believe me, some of the government personalities or officials that are not really doing what is expected of them, they are very much scared of the social media. They want to do, they try to do everything within their reach to ensure that, the social media doesn't advance. I can still recall very vividly. I'm telling you, there is something that happened in one of the organizations I belonged, and some principals in that organization were trying to do something funny. And then members of the organization blew the thing up, threatened that they will blow it up on social media with their names and pictures everywhere. Within the next 24 hours, everything was. So that's to tell you.
The fear of social media is the beginning of wisdom.
So that's to tell you how powerful the social media is. But we shouldn't use it to propagate falsehood. We shouldn't use it to instigate fear. We shouldn't use it to, defraud.
But with agriculture now, how has that really impacted? And how do you think the industry can harness the social media even better?
Yeah. A lot is also going on there. A lot is also going on. If you visit some advanced farms, you see technology, playing out. Let me just use one for instance. If you're into fish farming, prior to this time, you need to change your water without, reading, without testing anything. You change water. At times, if you don't have the strength to do that, the water remains there, even when the water is contaminated. But with the help of technology...
What water are you talking about?
I mean, pond.
Okay.
Yes, fish pond, if you're into fish farming.
Okay.
But with the help of technology, you don't need all of that. There is what we call a recirculatory system. You run your system, the water keeps recirculating, and peradventure, the water temperature is, or pH, sorry, the water pH is not, within the normal range. With the help of technology, you hear an alarm. There is a signal that comes. Once that alarm starts reading, it tells you that something is wrong with that particular water facility.
Okay.
And then you do the needful. So technology, how about the incubation system when it comes to poultry farming? We have different areas of agriculture that technology has really helped. Prior to this time, you use a kind of torchlight. There's a particular torch you use to check if egg has been being incubated or not, if the chick is forming. He said, but with technology, you don't need all of that. Everything shows on the screen.
So that was even possible then?
Yeah, definitely.
With the torchlight?
Definitely.
If the chick is...
If there is an incubation going on, or if the egg is hatching or not.
A lot of people have broken these eggs.
But with the help of technology, you don't need all of that. You see an incubator well programmed, well timed, and it has a screen. You can via the screen, you can see what is happening inside the particular
they carry out X-rays on these eggs.
Egg. You understand that? Then talking about, now let me come more physical. The issue of marketing when it comes to
social media now.
You know, social media has also, there was a time, that should be last 2 years, I needed a rice from a colleague who were on same Agan platform, our national platform, and then I discovered that he was into rice production. So we're chatting. He was the coordinator of Agan, Ebonyi State. So I reached out to him. I said, I need rice. So he said, okay, no problem. No, I will send you my account details. Just send me the closest address and then all of that. It was via the help of social media. We did all of that. My rice was packaged at Ebonyi State and was weighed down to, I picked up that rice at Rumokoro. I went to Rumokoro and loaded my rice straight to my house. So that's all. I sent him his money.
With marketing.
Exactly. Imagine the level of, if I was to sell that particular rice, I would have saved the cost of transport. And I'm sure I didn't spend up to 200 megabytes in establishing
Talking about that, how much do we even patronize our own farmers here?
That's a story for another day. Though patronage is also there, but
it seems you're getting a lot of patronage.
Yeah.
Because you said the story for another day. Because if you're not getting enough, you want to talk about it.
I do get it. See, the issue with agriculture is that we don't even have enough. We don't have enough, except you are not visible. Except you are not visible. Okay, something happened yesterday. There was we harvested a mushroom from the farm, and it was brought to the office. I was very busy in the office doing some other, so I forgot to reach out to the person that booked for that particular mushroom until I closed. That was around 7 last night. So while I was moving, I saw somebody, and I said, "Oh, you requested for this thing the other day." The person I'm supposed to give today's own, the person I forgot. Say, where is it? Do you have it there? I said, it's inside my bag. I opened up. I ran 7. You know, I'm just giving you an instance.
So it's not even a case of you not.
No, there is market. There is market, except you are not visible. You can leverage on the social media to make good sales.
So, do we know the population of persons
in within the area in River State? How many farmers do we have? How many can we consume? Till date, from neighboring state, eggs still come into River State. From neighboring state, they push egg into the state. That's how also from rivers they also push to nearby state, you know. So we don't have enough production yet. We are not producing to satisfy the market. Okay. So
that's why we're still importing from other
states. That's why we're getting that is it. So we need to stabilize or to advance agriculturally, and that is where the government support. That's why the government support comes. So any person that is producing, that is talking about patronage, what farmers are lamenting is the price. Is the price, not actually that there are no buyers. At times, the people buying from the farmers at the farm gate, they deal with the farmers, and that's why those of us that are a bit advanced technologically, I don't wait for you to come to my farm. I don't survive at your mercy because you're buying. No. I blow up my market. I have a market system that I now work to meet up to demand, not begging for people to come and pick up the little.
There is no how I will not ask this man about agriculture because that is his field. All right, now let's move on to the next story. President Bola Tinubu emphasized the need for Africa to process its raw materials or minerals locally rather than exporting them for refinement, which he argued perpetuates poverty and underdevelopment on the continent. Speaking at the African Mineral Strategy Group meeting during the UN General Assembly, he highlighted Africa's significant mineral reserves, including 92% of the world's platinum and 56% of cobalt, and one that exporting these resources only lead to higher costs. I don't know why crude was not mentioned here. For African nations when repurchasing finished products. Tinubu called for a shift towards local value, addition to industrialize the continent and promote sustainable economic growth. Nigeria's Minister of Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, supported this vision by criticizing the traditional model of exporting raw materials, both solid and liquid, and proposing local processing as a means to enhance economic independence and contribute to GDP. He noted that this strategy could create jobs and reduce imports. Alake and other leaders at the meeting called for a new political will among African leaders to ensure that mineral licenses are granted only under conditions that prioritize local value addition. At least after all of the talks, something was done at the end.
Yeah. You see, we will always keep advocating for advancement. So happy that the presidency, the president himself is the one revealing this. Though not a revelation, is the one emphasizing this. I think that's a better word. It's coming from the president on the need to drastically reduce the exportation of raw materials, which has kept the country the way it is today. You know, successive government or administration has not been very offensive when it comes to project implementation or tackling the needed infrastructural issues in the country. We have always been on the defensive. Once a particular decay in a particular infrastructural setup is now, you know, advancing on, now directly affecting the people, that's when you see our government look for a way to cushion the effect. That is what I have noticed about Nigeria. Now, we're talking about exportation of raw material is something that over some decades ago Nigerian would have, especially Nigerian. Not talking about Africa now. Africa is too big for me. Let us narrow it down to Nigeria. And I'm also very much aware that our president is ECOWAS chairman. I'm sure that particular office was was renewed. He emerged again after the last ECOWAS meeting. So, if our president is championing this, if he's now enlightening Africans, if he's now passing this message to the African countries or the African continent, there is need for us to lead by example. There is need for the president to come back home. This is my country. Let us have a model. And once you have a model, your influence will increase. As you are talking, as you are trying to impact people, they will look at what you already do. Okay, he's not just talking, he's already doing it. So you now achieve better results than when we just say it. And, you know, going through that story and hearing of solid minerals, platinum, cobalt, and all of that, Nigeria is known for crude production. Am I right? It is part of what the country has in excess. But we keep on exporting it. It will be refined. And then currently Nigeria is talking about there is still pressure for importation of petroleum. Even when we have the you know, highly celebrated refinery. And let me not dive into...
Isn't it, yes, we'll talk about that more when we get to fuel scarcity, but isn't it surprising, or should I say surprising now, that it's the same thing that's happening in that sector is happening with the solid minerals?
You know, do we have
a thing with just importing raw materials or exporting rather?
That is it. For me, I feel that that's the way Nigerian looks at, you know, advancing your economy. That's the concept of our leaders, our Nigerian government.
That's what it was back then, before technology actually helped us refine things, right?
Exactly.
So years ago, cliche, we're still using that.
That is it. And that is why we need to, there is need for upgrade, there is need for advancement. The president has made that's a very powerful begin to work. We want to see the implementation. We want to see policies that it's not about, you know, making presentation, Nigerians should do this, Africans should do this. What are we going to, what are the strategies, what are the modalities that are on ground or that will be put in place to ensure that these raw materials are no longer exported? And then let me ask a rhetorical question.
Has to be.
Who are the ones exporting these raw materials? Who are the ones that has the capacity to extract and then export? When you critically look at it very well, you discover that, you know, the same persons that are supposed to create policy, the same organizations, the same leaders that are supposed to create the policy that will help us to recycle or refine, you know, the extracted raw materials within the country, you know, add value to those raw materials and judiciously make use of them within the country, are also the same ones that are even doing the
But
exportation.
is it different in agriculture?
In agriculture,
Are we not still exporting raw materials?
we do, but not like you have it in other raw materials. What are the raw materials that we export in agriculture?
How is our processing?
It's still there. Processing is not what it should be. Agriculturally, processing is quite poor, and that is why we have, once we have advanced on the area of processing, definitely I believe more production will begin to take place. You know, for instance, if I'm a producer and I am trying to manage the little that I produce by the technology that I have adopted, with which I used to, you know, preserve it before sales, there is no how I will increase production. But once there is an advancement in the processing, which is where the government also has a major role to play, individual farmers will as well increase production. So going back to the issue of solid mineral export, is a good initiative, but the government should put something, there should be something on ground. There should be a policy, there should be modalities that will ensure, that will make these raw materials not to be extracted and then exported. Because an individual, a single individual, may not easily extract raw materials and then export. If you look at it very well, it is something that also happens within the ambit of government, politicals, that we know. But if Nigerians have been understanding our government, if Nigerians have been coping with the current and lingering
over exporting the raw materials and importing them processed, more expensive than we even exported them. Let's look at the economy now. This is on gas. Gas continues rising according to MBS. 70% surge in the price of cooking gas in Nigeria has caused widespread discontent, forcing many households to revert to traditional harmful methods like firewood. This looks like a particular report that we saw some years ago, and seeing it again years after, one is wondering what steps are really being taken. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, shows that the price of refilling a 12.5 kg gas cylinder has risen from 9,194 naira to 15,552 naira in August 2024. And this price hike has severely impacted households, small businesses, caterers, food vendors. They're struggling to cope with the rising costs, and despite government's removal of VAT on gas, the price has remained high due to importing them processed at a higher price. Now we have gas in Nigeria. Can somebody just tell me why we're importing cooking gas?
That's the impact of we exporting our raw materials and then importing back as refined products. That's what we have. You know, I'm so fed up with, you know, addressing negativity or negative issues. I've come to discover that it's stabilizing and advancing. Why things that should boost the economy, you hear the government say, we are working on, we are yet to do. But once it comes to things that will affect the masses, boom, one hand, you see the thing stabilize. The issue of hike in gas price has been there. It has been there for the past.
Stable rise.
Stable, consistent increase. And nothing significant has been done. The issue of VAT, removal of VAT on gas, where is the impact, where is the influence of that particular policy on the price of gas? You know, so is something else. And I feel for Nigerians, I feel for my fellow Nigerians whom, you know, the little they are doing with some of these resources are being denied them by the government, though indirectly. Tell me how somebody can cope. I went to refill gas the other day. I'm also a victim. I went there with like 10,000 something or 12,000, thinking I should be able to refill my gas. And that should be some months back. As soon as I got to the point, I was hearing 15,000, 16. Currently, 16,000 something in my own area. About
how
16,
many kg?
12.5. And I was like, I hadn't any choice. I said, give me the one that my money can afford. And since then, I've not been able to fill my gas tank in up to 12.5 kg. So many Nigerians are passing through hell. Now, I use that for my personal consumption. How about those that are doing business? If you refill gas 12.5 kg, you're cooking every day, not even every day, virtually every hour, your gas, you know, if you're into pepper soup restaurant business, you need the gas 24/7.
Yes. Except
you will use coal to augment. But I wonder how you will use coal in that kind of, maybe a very nice restaurant environment. It will not work. Now, how will the person make profit? How will the person stay in business? You know, the other day we talked about people leaving business, including the farming enterprise. Some persons are leaving. Now, look at what gas is also, costing Nigerians. Now, how do the government want these people to survive? How do the government want Nigerians to survive? Create employment you're not creating. You have made Nigerians believe that the government cannot provide jobs for everybody. And Nigerians have adopted that particular principle. And we keep asking, how about other countries? How about some countries that are even looking for personnel? They are ready to harvest people from other countries to their country just for...
I wonder what the difference is with us.
That is it. So if there are countries that can do that, and we have... Some of these countries are telling that Nigerians have all it takes to engage as many that are ready to work. And you see Nigerians telling us that the government... We have accepted. Nigerians have concurred to that particular policy. Is a matter
now
of...
everybody's a CEO.
Yeah, everybody is a CEO, including myself. But we are now asking, make the business environment very conducive. Don't give us loan, because the loan, we don't also understand what happens in that particular area. Somebody came to my office and said, I love this. Look for a way and get loan. I said, do you have any contact? Do you have anywhere I will go?
But you can't access it.
That is the point. Even to assess it, you see the level of bureaucratic bottleneck that you will face. At the end of the day, you'll be frustrated.
And this is from experience.
I'm telling you, definitely from experience. I'm not just saying what I've not experienced. It's from experience, because I've been there. You know, so it is something that the government need to pay very close attention to. You're not providing the job. And your people have been government can make our lives better. That the government can make Nigerian better. I'm only praying that God should have mercy on us. Because Nigerians are smart. We have intelligent people. The frustrating aspect of it is you see some persons you hold to a very high esteem prior to their emergence or entrance into government position. Once they get into that office, some of the policies that they have been clamoring, agitating for before entering into government, once they enter there, it's like there is a dark cloud, or should I use the word there? A negative force.
Like that?
A negative force that engross or engrave them. You no longer. I say, God forbid. That was my.
Is it like you said, a cloud, or is it about the individuals? Why does it? We've heard these cases over and over.
I don't think it's about individual. There is something about the system. Okay. There is something about the system that is not just, and that's why you hear some person. I've heard some of my. Some of my senior colleagues, some of my bosses, I've had some of them in the business world say, we cannot go into such and so office. I know, I'm sure you are aware of that. There is no how a single individual can easily change a system. You may be choked, and that is the problem that I have seen with the Nigerian political arena or Nigerian government. They should please look for a way. They should help the masses. That system that makes
people change.
When they sit that system should be accepted, that they were in that position or in those positions as a result of God's permission or permissive will for them to also make their own little contribution to the advancement of the country.
Yes, we're told that a lot of people are resorting to firewood now.
It's a terrible situation, I must tell you. We're fighting with the issue of global warming, climate change and all of that. And I'm sure for the past 1 decade now, there has been a very significant improvement on the area of, Nigerians stepping away from the use of firewood
and
stove to cooking gas. And the price of cooking gas wants to take Nigerians back. It's not like wants to take. It has already taken Nigerians back. I have seen people in a very fine, very good residential quarter, good apartment. Ordinarily, you're not even, you may not be allowed to burn. Let me use it, to burn waste materials. And I've seen some of those compounds, resorting to the use of charcoal and firewood to cook.
Wow.
Which is what I also want to do. in no distance
that's something
time.
you're even thinking about too.
See, people, we must survive. We must survive. See, not minding even if I know the harmful effect,
Yes,
but I need to survive. I need to survive. You need to heat water. The power is not there. Electricity is not there. I have electric gas, but I cannot make use of it when I want to make use of it. So should I deny myself sleep? At times in my own area, the light comes in the night, midnight, when I should be resting. So that's when you expect me to now wake up and then come and start cooking, so that I will make use of electric gas and then save the cost of gas. And of course, as you're using the electric gas, the issue is also reading. The cost of electricity is something else. So how do we survive? How do we survive? Is telling on Nigerians, and it's high time our government, you know, starts taking
innovative. Because if we feel like we've not gotten to that extent where we can produce as much gas as we would consume here, then we should look for alternatives.
Sure. When we talk, we always bring the government to table, because there are some things individuals cannot do when it comes to policy. The issue of fire business.
Don't tell me you've changed.
I never liked fire business. But what I was expecting our government to do, just the same way they are dealing with some of these our boys that hack system and all of that, they get them. See how you can refine these heads, how you can refine this brain, and engage them meaningfully. In that same punishment, you rehabilitate them, train them in power. You can record a long queue in some of the banks. You see the long queue, the time it will take you to access fund. But with the adoption and the approval of these POS businesses by Nigerian government, you see how that has, but it has reduced the stress on the people.
All right.
So that is how the government should be thinking, and those are the kind of policies that the government should be adopting.
Loveday, I appreciate your topic. Thank you so much for your contribution. We'll go on a short break now, and after that we'll continue. The show will continue. Please stay right here with us.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only
Big thanks for standing by. Let's move on to the next story. Nigerian federal government has stated that it will not intervene in the dispute between the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and Dangote Refinery over premium motor spirit prices, that's petrol. Presidential advisor Bayo Onanuga explained that since the petroleum market is deregulated, both companies are free to set their prices based on market forces. NNPCL has claimed they have purchased the petrol from Dangote at 898 naira per litre, but Dangote has refuted this, asserting that the petrol that only NNPC will get to buy from Dangote. But what are your thoughts on this story?
Well, let me not pick it. Let me not take it up from the comment you just made, though I've been trying to reconcile that too. But going straight to the story, I mean, in the issue of price, petroleum price, that means there's no hope for the common man. The government does not actually understand the impact of this hike in fuel price on the people. If the government will not intervene, if the government will not do something to, ensure that there is a stable price, the nature of things in the country, and the government is saying they will not intervene. I have nothing else to say. The petrol is very high, right? And that they bought for 898 naira, if I'm very much correct, per liter. And Dangote is coming up to refute, to say it's not true, that there was an addition of both their profit margins and other expenses, other costs. Dangote petrol is far, far higher than even what they are going to get from the outside.
No, it's not higher than what they would get from outside from their analysis. But for them to have mentioned that price, it already tells Nigerians that it's on the high side. Unlike what we thought it would be. No,
you see, if you remember, Dangote said his petrol, his fuel is 15% cheaper
than what would import.
And then NNPC, federal government, is also saying if independent marketers, fees, they will get it cheaper from outside. They will not affect that. They can go ahead with that. And then we are asking, prior to this time, NNPC had already said that, of course, not said, NNPC is taking that particular private marketers to have access to Dangote petrol. Now, if indeed the NNPC is sincere with their statement, the issue of keeping private marketers or independent marketers outside, denying them access from accessing a product that is being refined here in Nigeria, you want them to come and buy from you. What competition are you promoting? So there is contradiction. There is controversy between, what the federal government is saying, and especially from the statement or information released by Ononuga, and what they are acting, what the federal government is demonstrating. If you want to promote competition,
that was what they told us
previously.
Before,
yes.
You understand? So what if the NNPCL are buying from Dangote and then subsidizing the price, continued subsidizing that price for the independent marketers to purchase? Will we still have the same argument of wanting the independent marketers to buy?
Yes, for me, I think that argument will still remain. That argument will still remain there. Because if the interest and the comfort of the masses when it comes to petrol is the government interest, is the interest of those in that particular business, I think there is need for sincere competition.
Okay.
There is need for direct access. It's like an NPC wants to technically turn. An NPC can come out tomorrow and say for logistics reasons, this, that. Yeah, to put a so and so price, but internal arrangement, logistics before now, finally selling to the marketers, the price, has increased.
Just like recently, and Nigeria still cannot understand why that increase happened recently.
Exactly, and then we still remain at the mercy of nobody.
In Nigeria, especially when you talk about flooding, you want to look at what's going on in Borno State. But then, following the torrential rains and the recent dam collapse in Maiduguri, Nigerians living in coastal states are on high alert due to the release of the excess water from Labo Dam in Cameroon. The Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency has warned of severe flooding, potentially impacting 11 states, including Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, and our River State. Although the recent flooding in Maiduguri wasn't caused by Labo Dam, according to reports, concerns are rising about the potential impact of its water release. Residents in vulnerable communities are already relocating to higher grounds as water levels in the Niger and the Benue rivers have risen. Now, the NIHSA's Director General has warned that water discharge could escalate beyond what we can think of over the next week. And the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has also confirmed the ongoing release is to prevent potential dam failure which could cause significant damage in Nigeria if there's a dam failure. All right. Back to reports, it has been a back and forth conversation about what caused the Maiduguri flood.
Yeah.
Some people have said, reports had it that it was the dam collapse. But then the federal government came and said it was rainfall, it's not the dam collapse. But that's not the focus now.
Yeah.
How prepared do you think states are concerning this water release, especially the states that are prone to flooding?
Yeah, so far I think I don't think a lot is being done by the states being mentioned, except they are doing something privately. But I believe that the issue of flood invasion or flood threat is not something that should be done at a very low pace, or you do it without alerting and publicizing what you're doing, and also sensitizing the public on the possible outcome, peradventure the flood invades a particular area, and then also pinpoint those flood-prone areas. You make some of those things public, and then education should also come. All of those sensitization should be ongoing on media, as well as calling for partnership support here and there, and then also alerting some humanitarian organizations, peradventure it happens, so that every person, must have been at alert. But from the little I've read and I've heard,
You don't need to go too far. You're staying in one of the states.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. I've not seen enough as expected. Now narrowing it down to Rivers State, which happens to be our state, and also one of the states being mentioned. I think the government needs to proactively get into the field. I've not heard, I've not read that the environmental ministry or those concerned with this particular issue are already doing something, and River State is being mentioned. So I think all relevant agencies in the state, from the local government, especially those flood-prone areas, but believe me, because of what we have experienced prior to this time, even areas that are not close to the river are usually affected. So it's not something like every person needs to be up and doing. The issue of move to higher ground, check your apartment, check your belongings, arrange yourself very well. Peradventure it hits your area. And then above all, the issue of drain, which we have also noticed in some areas, the major cause of flood invasion on some of those particular areas. People should begin to open up their drains. People should begin to keep their environment clean. And talking about the issue of drain, water channels, we have also discovered that in course of this construction going on around the state, that has been going on, not just going on, for the past 8 years in River State, we have also discovered that this issue has contributed to, affecting some of the already existing drains. Some of the projects, the construction work, no proper, water channel are being considered in course of this construction. So we also want to appeal to the government, those monitoring the road infrastructural development project should ensure that water lines are being maintained, and that the water channels get to somewhere, get to a place where the water can be absorbed or channeled. Not just building a drain without directing water that will enter the drain into a particular place.
Do you think we have a problem with our drainage system?
Definitely we do. We do have a problem with that. But above all, government needs to sit up. We shouldn't wait until when the invasion has come. We shouldn't wait for the flood to hit our people and then we start shouting. It's better you are prepared than not being prepared before getting a kind of natural disaster. You prepare before the natural disaster. Thank God for what the agencies are doing, NEMAT and then the National Hydrological Service Agency. Thank God for what they are doing, alerting the public, alerting the government. They have done their part. It is now left for the government to make good use of the information and act proactively without waiting for it to occur. Believe me, some state government are still praying it will not happen.
What? Like
I said, somebody once said that in River State it will not happen because they are doing a road construction project, that the intensity of rainfall, the amount of rainfall recorded in this part of the country, in our state, in River State in particular, has reduced as a result of. And I was looking at the person. What has road construction,
project,
to do. So you see, traditional belief also have a way of affecting some persons. And at times, if you see the government action, the way the government act, you begin to ask yourself, is it that the government also listen or adopt some of this traditional philosophy? Since they are doing road construction, that the construction company, rain will not fall. The community they are doing the road construction, they have rain doctors. That
before NEMA comes up with any emergency, emergency alerts, these states that are flood prone have been having cases of flooding before now.
Definitely.
So ordinarily, it is only wise and expected from governments of these states to have put measures in place just in case the flood gets to happen again. That's even the natural one now, not to even talk about
the opening of the dam.
Yeah, so one would have naturally or normally expected that enough steps would have been taken normally while you are planning for the year, whatever. Okay,
maybe the government forgot, or they are not very much...
but what you're just saying is that we need to see more.
Definitely, we need to see more, and that's why programs like these are very important and essential to addressing some of this issue. So let's quickly seize the opportunity to appeal to the government at all levels, to see what they can do to ensure that the loss of life or loss of life is not being recorded or are not being recorded. Because if after the alert, the government fail to do what they are supposed to do, and at the end of the day, we'll have our beloved ones being, lives being lost as a result of the incident, it's going to be a very serious shock, and the pain will not get out of the lives or the family members. So the government should